got all new innards.
It's a nice feeling though. The top one,
Yeah.
the bottom one, you press them at the same time and they'll all
Pops.
snap open.
What?
Remember an old friend of ours used to say good action?
Who said good action again? Oh, aye. Hello and welcome to CVXX. My name's Rab Florence.
Hi, I'm Hi, I'm Ryan still, Ryan McLeod. Welcome to CVXX.
This is CVXX, and first episode of CVXX, we covered 1984, and we asked the audience of the show, would you like us to stay in 1984 or move on to 1985? And Ryan, I've got great news for you. They've decided that we should move towards our grave. We have moved to the year 1985. We are in the year 1985. Let's hear it from 1985.
Maybe the viewers don't realise that they just want to see content move on, because that's what you always want for your content. You always want your content moving on to the next thing. They don't really realise what happens to us when we get to the end of this timeline, though. But moving on to 1985, there's a lot of great content to talk about, a lot of great movies, great games. You okay?
We don't want to move into the future. We would quite like to stay in the past. This is 1985, and I want to thank all of you out there, myself and Ryan, for the wonderful response to CVXX episode 1. Guft Industries have been very pleased with the content so far. They did say that I looked as if I'd put a bit of beef on, so they have asked that I weigh in every time I do an episode, so I'm having to lose a wee bit of weight.
I thought you were looking a wee bit dehydrated, actually.
Yeah,
is that what that is?
I was in the bin bags this morning. I wrapped myself in bin bags. I'm feeling a wee bit hyper. I was nervous last episode, but this episode I would say I'm really hyper because I had 7 coffees this morning. I was inside my bin bags, and let me tell you, I was sweating buckets. Ryan, we have been asked a few questions just before we move on to 1985. We've been asked a few questions about the name of the show. Ryan, could you clarify some points here?
Well, that second thing there. That's a V, because we come for the Consulvania, so that's a V. It's not a U. And I'm not even saying the word. I know that we're being trolled by these people, so I'm not even saying the word.
The trollers are out for us.
It's CVXX.
CVXX is the name of it.
By the way, I wasn't going to bring this up on the podcast, but I read the email for Guft, because you were saying last month that logo cost $2,500, and we're trying to figure out how it cost $2,500, but it didn't cost $2,500 because you never read it properly. It's costing us $2,500 a month to subscribe to this logo.
So remember that we have a Patreon that runs as well, patreon.com/Consulvania. If you want to support CVXX, Guft Industries would be quite happy to get their payments. Anyway, let's get moving on with 1985. Ryan, hey, the data slates, by the way, are gone. Guft Industries have given us a prize to celebrate our first anniversary of doing the show, our first monthly anniversary, and Ryan, how about these Filofaxes?
Filofaxes are back, brought to you by Guft.
Filofaxes have returned, brought to you by the gentlemen and ladies of Guft. Ryan,
how many times these days, let's be honest, have you went, where's my ruler? I don't know where my ruler is. Any idea?
Listen, see if you've got something that has holes in it, you can put it inside this. If you've got anything in your life that has a hole, get it in your Filofax. You know what I was thinking about, Ryan? It's called a Filofax, right? Mm-hmm. And it really is a file full of facts about 1985. Let's get it open and let's get talking about 1985. And remember, CVXX is a show about games, culture, TV, movies, all of that stuff. And I'm going to turn straight to tab 1 in my Filofax right now. Ryan, I'm going to introduce the first thing we want to talk about is some of the news events in 1985 to bring you right back there to the year 1985.
Have you got your own list in your Filofax of news events in 1985?
Yes, I've got some.
I've got a list as well.
I've got some significant news events. Would you like to go first?
Okay, well, I'll go first then. Well, mine are in chronological order. This first one's a belter as well.
Right, give me it.
January 1st, 1985 is the first mobile phone call in Britain is made. Do you know who it's made by?
Listen, let me tell you something. I do know who made that first mobile phone call.
Mm-hmm. This is unbelievable.
You're not going to believe this.
Make a guess. Write down a guess. Go and get your Filofax. Write down a name inside that Filofax.
Guess who made the first mobile phone call in the United Kingdom on a mobile phone across the network of mobile phones inside the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The United Kingdom first mobile phone call in the UK. Write that name down. Who made that first mobile phone call in the United Kingdom?
Ready? Ernie Wise.
Ernie Wise.
He phoned Vodafone. I don't think that doesn't sound like a thing that Ernie Wise could do. I don't think he could figure out how to phone Vodafone, but that's what happened.
Some of you people talk about people at our generation, right? The old, okay? Like we don't know how to work technology. I want you to just remember that. See, next time you're slagging me off because I don't know how to do a torrent anymore or to get on the dark web to order.
That's enough.
Well, let me tell you something. Remember that Ernie Wise from Morecambe and Wise was the first person to make a mobile phone call.
You day one.
In the UK. Well, 1985 was also the first anniversary of Michael Jackson's Hair Gone on Fire.
I didn't think of that, actually.
What was your spin on that? I want to hear what your spin on Michael Jackson's Hair Gone on Fire.
I mean, it's a strange one because it's tragic because it represents like a real turning point in Michael's life where things just go a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
To the bizarre end. But on the other hand, I think I said last time, it's also hilarious. Like, it's really, really funny that his hair went on fire. The event, I mean, what came afterwards, tragic.
His hair went on fire
That's often the way, though.
1 year ago today in 1985. Here's another news story from 1985 that some of you are going to have your minds blown off by. Cherry Coke was invented in 1985. Mm-hmm. You're a fan of Cherry Coke, aren't you?
It's one of my favourites.
Love a Cherry Coke. And also it was the year that New Coke came out as well. New Coke, the new variety of taste.
I think it came out for about 20 minutes.
Listen, let me tell you something. Americans did not like it. Americans don't like change.
They made it sweeter as well, and they didn't like it. That's weird.
Americans
it must have been
didn't like
really
it.
Sweet.
See if they'd called it Gun Coke. The Americans would have fucking liked it, wouldn't they?
School shooting soda.
I know some Americans watched this show last time, and I just want to say I have a massive amount of respect for you guys. Let me tell you something. You have made a lot of progress.
Who are you talking to?
America. You have made a lot of progress in the last 100 years. Some of the things you guys used to be into, it was crazy. Some of the things you used to do to people. And now, a lot of progress has been made, and you are into different things. So I want to give you a lot of respect. See, as far as I'm concerned, America is the new Coke of countries, the new America of the America of Coke. What else news happened?
10th of January, the Sinclair C5 battery-assisted recumbent tricycle designed by British inventor Clive Sinclair is launched.
Right, let's raise some gin and juice to Mr. Clive Sinclair, to Dr. Clive.
Clink.
That's it.
Okay, that's crystal.
Get up
Crystal.
for Sir Clive. An important figure, Sir Clive Sinclair.
August 13th, 1985, the Sinclair C5 ceases production after just 7 months and fewer than 17,000 sales.
It's a failure you're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's reverse that, let's pull that back. Fucked it. Clive Sinclair fucked it. And here's another wee bit of news. Something else was launched in 1985, which I would like to call the new Coke, or the America of television. And that was, Ryan, dun 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 dun.
Coronation Street. Sorry. EastEnders.
EastEnders came about in 1985. Curly Watts, Den, Dirty Den, Angie, Ian, Bishop. The gang.
Cottons.
Who?
The Cottons.
The Cottons? Doc Cotton's son. Let me tell you something about Doc Cotton's son. He was Nasty Nick, they called him, right, back in the day. But see, nowadays, the way people are about mental health nowadays and stuff, they would have called him Misunderstood Nick. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
It was a different time.
It was catchy.
Hey, listen, while this isn't really a UK-based thing, we do have to acknowledge that in the year 1985, Super Mario Brothers was unveiled to the world. Super Mario Brothers on the NES system, Nintendo NES, the Nintendo.
But
Ryan,
nobody in the UK had that one of them, though. I'm pretty sure the UK GDP of the country wasn't high enough to buy in Super Nintendo. That's probably not true.
Super Nintendo wasn't a Super Nintendo, Ryan. It was just the NES system.
You know what I mean?
Listen, Ryan, I've got to say one thing to you.
With the robot.
Rob?
With the spinning top. Robot Rob.
Rob. Who were the guys that had an NES back in 1985? I wonder who these people were. Because they must have been sophisticated It wasn't kids. These must have been
No, I'm thinking like coked up stock guys.
like American Psycho type
Yeah.
guys. Guys with guys with Filofaxes maybe had an NES back in the day. So,
I mean, it's got nice colours and everything. I like the way the colours are staying inside the lines, fair enough. The music's good, it just keeps going, the music at the same time as you're playing the game. That is quite impressive compared to a lot of games, right enough. Holy shit, but it is awfully crisp compared to a lot of games. Holy shit, it's very crisp and smooth, very Japanese, it's polished. It's nice. Made by Atari and Tengen is Gauntlet, which is, whether you can realise it watching this footage, an absolute thrill of a ride. Gauntlet, especially in multiplayer, predominantly in multiplayer. One player's a bit of a lonely experience. Certainly no anywhere near as much fun as shooting the food and stunning each other when death's chasing you. These know what I'm talking about. I'm probably too old. But it's 1985 and Gauntlet's new. That's the point of this bit. It's 19. All the games are for 19. Okay. Future Hall of Famer, whatever that means. It's the big one. It's the sci-fi legend that is. How the fuck do you... What? Where's the screen? Got a bit of space there. It's Elite. I'd like to go and have an hors d'oeuvre on Earth. The planet or... Hello? Oh, it's like 3D. The games industry is roughly about 25 minutes old, and folk have already started going, hold on a minute, people liked that game I had out last year. Give me a few weeks, I'll have another one ready. Yes, there are a few sequels coming out in 1985. I forget what the name of this one is. No wonder we were glued to these screens, they're fucking mesmerising. Jet Set Willy 2 isn't as good as Jet Set Willy 1. Next. I'm raging about this, by the way. I'm re-raging about this. I remember being raging about this at the time, but this is Chucky Egg 2. And what the fuck is that an alligator? Is that a strawberry or an apple? Is that a bone? Is this Chucky Egg? I hate this game. Chucky Egg's one of my all-time favourite games. One of the purest gaming experiences perfected by the mad genius Nigel Alderton. But Chucky Egg 2 comes out and it's made by a load of bampots that have made these stupid scenarios and all this noise. I'd love to one day have the time to be able to do a deep dive into this and get into contact with some of the designers, of which there are many, many that worked on this game, just to see whether it is the way I imagine it probably was. It looks like a lot of arguments have taken place. Like the way that there is such variation from sheet to sheet in this game speaks volumes, I think. Too many cooks. Oh, did I die there? You're talking Benny Hill's Madcap Chase. Don't wake anybody up. Keep your voice down. Keep your voice down if you want a dirty time. Here, this looks pretty good actually. That old Benny there, look, nicking all the knickers and stuff in the bras off the washing line and running away for the wall. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Aye, but this isn't the game at its normal speed. This is the game sped up 800%. This is the game in real speed. I swear to fucking God, sometimes I'm not even moving and I crash into things. It's alright, it's like a 9 out of 10. I didn't wank as many times as I thought I would. Sing it with me, come on, sing it. Do. I don't know either. The megastar, the UK megastar puppet man Roland Rat has arrived on the scene, and this is Roland Rat Race. Roland's. And in all honesty, Rat fans, this game's actually got some good action in it. It's got some nice ladder climbing, it's got a nice satisfying speed to it. My biggest complaint is it's so difficult to die in it. Because you will want to die because it's fucking shite, Rat fans. The sequel to Pyjamarama's out and it's called Everyone's a Wally, and it proves that you don't need that Super Mario Bros. Rubbish. This is funnier, more interesting, and I guarantee you this will age far, far better than Super Mario Bros. Will, alright? That's a guarantee cast iron. You can take that to the bank.
Anything else that you want to say for 1985 before we move on?
I mean, I've got loads of facts.
Keep going. Keep them coming.
You sure?
Are they in your file facts?
Yeah.
Keep coming.
Yeah, all written in my head.
Come.
Right, okay.
Ryan, come.
The World Chess Championship is abandoned.
Why?
February 15th. Why? I think there had been something like 40 draws or something. It was between...
Kasparov, was this the Kasparov era?
Kasparov and Karpov, I think it was. I could be wrong there. But they basically just played themselves into submission in and they abandoned it.
If anybody out there knows whether it was Kasparov or Karpov or what was happening, could
In
you?
1985.
We are going to do something really special, by the way, because shows in the past. Shows in the past used to be able to engage with their audience by asking you to send a postcard. We are going to look into how we can make that happen. Obviously, we don't want to give you our addresses.
That means I'm going to look into it.
Yeah, no, we'll look into it. We don't want to give out our home addresses because obviously you people out there can't be trusted, like kind of game geek people and stuff like that tend to be, they have a kind of school shooter vibe about them. So we don't want to share our addresses, but we will set up some PO box or, someday maybe Jerry McLaughlin's address, and you can send in postcards and we'll read out the postcards on the show and maybe even drawings.
That would be nice, yeah. We get a wee gallery thing going in the show.
A wee gallery.
Nice, yeah.
Listen, let me tell you something. I was talking to a representative for Guft Industries during the week, and a lovely woman, and she was talking about how they have a large gallery in the Guft complex, and they said that they've added our profiles and our photographs and our image to the Guft galleries within their complex.
That's a good thing.
And that is a good thing, and I think we should, they've invited us down. They said they're going to keep an eye on, they're tracking the success of the show, and they're going to invite us down to the gallery to kind of reflect upon ourselves when this project is at its end.
That's generous. That's really generous.
That is generous.
29th of January, get ready to clink again. Margaret Thatcher becomes the first post-war Prime Minister to be publicly refused an honorary degree by Oxford University.
Here we go. There we are.
Fucking right up you, Maggie.
Listen, can I just say something about Maggie Thatcher? Because one of these...
I had a feeling you were going to have something to say about Maggie.
One of these things that happens when history unfolds, and this is a show really, it's about UK history, is that people start getting looked at in a more sympathetic light. So you've seen a few wee profiles. I mean, the lassie out of X-Files played Thatcher in a thing, Scully out of X-Files played Thatcher in a thing. And that's, for guys your generation, Scully was a cracking looking, I don't want to reduce people just to their physical, but she was a cracking looking lassie, right? And we all liked her. We all were like, Mulder, come on, stop hitting out with this fucking Reddit r/UFOs subreddit patter and show some love for this woman, right? And then they cast her as Thatcher, and that's challenging for us. As I just want to say, I have no sexual interest in Margaret Thatcher at all. I've never masturbated over Margaret Thatcher in my life, and I will not masturbate over Margaret Thatcher. I will not. I'm not. It's a red line for me, Ryan.
I don't know why you brought it up, but fair enough. 21st of January, Ronald Reagan is inaugurated as the President of the United States for the second time. No, why would they do that? But they did that. Jesse Norman sings Simple Gifts.
I've got no idea what that is, but Simple Gifts reminds me of Simple Guft Industries, and I just want to thank Guft Industries for the support doing this show. I also want to say
they do a lot of cosmetic stuff as well, Guft Industries, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent. They do excellent work.
I just want to say as well that Guft have encouraged us to find other sponsors. So if anybody wants to sponsor the show, that's good as well. We will not be sponsoring anything that's associated with David Icke or any of his.
Has there been any movement?
I don't know what that means.
With the Icke situation, has there been any?
No, there's been no movement. I've been watching, and there's been no movement as yet. But I think it is notable that David Icke has had nothing to say about this show. I have been having a look on his socials, and he has had not a thing to say about this show. And I was thinking to myself,
I didn't really want to spend too much time on this, but do you think he's real, David Icke?
In what sense?
I mean, you actually think he's a person? Do you think he's real? I was just asking because the AI is so good these days. It's just like he doesn't move much. Like he's easily animated. It just.
The only reason
whenever
why
there's conspiracy things, I'm always like, is this even human generated? Is this
I know, but the only reason I don't think he's AI is because I do remember him on Wogan, and I don't. I think that's a good marker for is this real or is it AI? If they've been on Wogan.
Yeah. Okay.
So, will we move on to our first topic of the day? Let's move on to our first topic of the day of 1985. Ryan, where would you like to start? Because we have been completely embedding ourselves in the culture of 1985.
The first thing that happens when the calendar switches to the first of the month is I start listening to the music of the year that we're going to cover.
There we go.
I've been listening a lot to 1985 music, so that's been really great. But we've got a film to cover, we've got lots and lots of games that could be talking about, and we've also got a TV series that we've watched and played all these things.
Give me a game. Let's start with a game.
Okay, let's see. Well, we start with Brataccas then.
Let's start with Brataccas. Let's talk about the Trials of Brataccas. Tell us about Brataccas, Ryan.
So Brataccas is about this lad who's on some kind of prison mining planet, I think. And he's been falsely accused. Now, I only know all this because I've read like the backstory of the game. It's not like you turn on the game and these things are explained, because they've not got the space on the tape to explain these things to you. So in the day, you would have had like a nice manual and stuff that's really intricately designed. But you're on a prison planet mining thing and you're falsely accused of something and you have to gather evidence to clear your name. That's as much as I understand.
Is this an Amiga game?
It was, as far as I'm aware, originally designed for the Spectrum, but it was released on the Amiga. I think that's the order of how it went.
But no, the Amiga 500 is like an early, because Amiga 500's no it yet, right?
No.
It's 2 years away from now. 2 years away from 1985, no 2 years away from... This is 1985, sorry.
Good. No an Amiga 500, but an Amiga. But it will look very much like a Spectrum game when you look at the footage. But it's unique in a few different ways. One of the most infuriating ways that it's unique, as I think you found it, is how it controls. Because it came out at a time when accessories weren't really the norm for computers. And for some reason, joysticks are too expensive. Most people don't have joysticks, but a lot of people do have mice because the Amiga comes with a mouse.
Right.
So we're going to prioritise controlling this platforming game with a mouse. So you have some kind of intended movement system with a mouse where you have to do like flicks and gestures to get the guy to move.
What?
But it does not work. It does not work. You should be able to switch to joystick and keyboard, but I couldn't get it to work in any of the versions that I tried.
I can't wait to see this. Have we got some footage of this? Can we have some VT?
You are Kine. I'm carrying something there. Fuck knows how I managed to pick it up. I'm taking my sword out for no reason. You are Kine and you are guilty according to that graffiti on the wall. And somehow Kine is going to have to use these terrible mouse controls to clear his name, finding evidence and such. Now this game boasts dozens of characters apparently that have their own routines apparently, which just means they move about a bit. So to evaluate this game properly, what I have to try and do is just completely ignore what is a huge flaw. I'm not even going to think about it. The controls are fine. I can't get out of this fucking room, but the controls are fine. I don't care. What I care about is how varied the fucking graphics are. I mean, I've added this music. This is the music for the game, but this doesn't play throughout the game. I've just added it for atmosphere because I couldn't deal with the silence. The combination of the silence and me trying every mouse movement and control over and over again just to get out of a fucking door. But I'm ignoring that. This game's got style. It's a bit of a lopsided kind of weird style, but it's definitely got some style.
So that's Brataccas.
Should have also mentioned that it's Bandersnatch. I think that's what people say. That it's just like a clone, or it's.
So this is the famous Bandersnatch that was supposedly coming out and get worked on, and the mythic.
But it's Psygnosis' first game, so it has all of that look and design and the cover art and everything. It's all really beautiful. The music as well is excellent, and as limited as it is, it's like I couldn't believe I was hearing it off such an early system.
Speaking of that though, I believe 1985 was the year that Psygnosis was founded.
Yeah,
which is a significant event for UK games fans. Such as us. Well, that's great. I'm going to talk about a wee game now then as well. Let's get another game out of the way while we're talking about games. Before we move on to something in the wider culture, I want to talk about a game that I loved, Ryan, which was called Barry McGuigan's Boxing.
What's that about?
For the young team out there, Barry McGuigan was a boxer from Ireland who... You have to understand that Barry McGuigan, I'm sure we can get a wee image of Barry McGuigan up here, somewhere here. Barry McGuigan, there he is, somewhere there. Barry McGuigan is a guy who everybody rallied behind because he was a featherweight. He was the weight of feathers, Ryan.
I don't think that's the way it works.
That is how it works. Why would they call it fucking featherweight then?
No, I don't know actually. No, carry on.
Why would they call it? They call it human weight if it was like skinny wee guy weight. It's featherweight.
Everybody's human weight. Everybody's human weight. Well, every human is human weight.
Well,
anyway.
Guff Industries was saying I wasn't a human weight this week when they emailed me and they tell me to weigh in. Anyway, featherweight.
It'll be good for you though. It's
will
good to be healthy.
Barry McGuigan, it's now my family. I just want to tell you, here's a wee bit of talk about my family here. We used to all watch the Barry McGuigan fights. It was an event. You Saturday evening, everybody would come round for a wee drink or something, and you'd watch a Barry McGuigan fight. And let me tell you something, Barry McGuigan's dad, Ryan, before the fight, used to stand in the ring and he used to sing Danny Boy as like entrance music almost for Barry McGuigan. Oh, Danny, but he's singing in the ring. Anyway, he was a hero, Barry McGuigan. He was a hero, as heroic as you can be, try to give other people brain damage, right? But the game came out, Barry McGuigan's boxing, and we're going to go to a bit of VT here because I genuinely think this is one of the best, and I'm not just saying this out of nostalgia. I think this is one of the best boxing games ever made.
Okay.
Let's take a look at Barry McGuigan's boxing.
Listen, it is a beautiful rendition.
And let me tell you, Barry McGuigan's championship boxing was a great rendition of a boxing game. Is he going to start singing or what? There you go. There we are now. And yeah, they had to make sure, let me tell you, that they were releasing a good boxing game with Barry McGuigan's name on it. Because back in 1985, everybody loved Barry McGuigan. My ma loved Barry McGuigan. My dad loved Barry McGuigan. I loved Barry McGuigan. And you would get the sweeties out, the men would get the cans out, the woman would get a wee half of whiskey out, and we'd all watch Barry McGuigan boxing in front of his dad and his missus and his wains and all that. And it was a beautiful sight. He was a hero, you know. And the game itself, it was incredibly full-featured for a game of its time. You could train, you could spar, you build your boxer up, you could create boxers, I remember that. Didn't dip into that too much because I was just a wee boy. I liked to just pick Barry McGuigan and get out there with my Irish green shorts and knock some boys out. And it was just a really, really solid boxing game. I remember it getting very stressful as you try to manage your endurance, dealing with your knockdowns, dealing with the fact you'll rest between rounds, go to your endurance back up. There was wee ways you could game the system. Man, it was good stuff. And it still stands up today, I'm glad to say. I've been playing it a wee bit just this past couple of weeks, and it's still good to stand there with your joystick battering away, remembering the times when Barry McGuigan's dad was alive, singing him to the ring on those wonderful Saturday nights with a family.
Ladies and gentlemen, if that didn't bring a goosebump or two, you better check your pulse and your heart.
Mind and check your pulse of your heart now. Ryan, have you ever boxed anybody?
Well, I don't think I have actually.
No?
I don't think so.
No, by rules you've fought people though. Have you hit people?
Not recently. I don't think so.
I didn't dye my beard, by the way, for this episode. I don't know if is this better or worse? If you could send a wee postcard in to let me know, do you want to see Rab? Because I know a lot of Rab fans out there. Do you want to see Rab with a grey beard, or would you just rather see Rab with he's dyed it brown?
How do you dye it? Do you have to put it on your face?
Well, it's a product called Just for Men, and you brush it on your face with a wee brush. You leave it on. You don't leave it on too long. If you leave it on too long, you're in big trouble, let me tell you.
I'm surprised you can get away with a title like a name like Just for Men these days. I'm surprised you can get away with it.
You know, I wonder if it is. Yeah, I mean, you're true about that. I see what you're saying. We're heading into.
Remember Malsport?
See, we didn't. This is the thing about the past. You didn't have to worry about that stuff. What is this?
Malsport.
Malsport.
Remember
What is that you've got there, Ryan?
It's an episode of Crash. No, I'm calling it an episode.
It's an episode of Crash. Crash magazine, yeah.
It's got Zoids on the cover. Does anybody remember Zoids?
I do remember
They
Zoids.
were way out of my price zone.
It's got ER Kung Fu on the back. ER Kung Fu had was it the fat guy with a chain in it?
I love how all the ads and all the art in the games, all the illustrations are all rubbish. I love it. I love how they're all naff. And you can have a dig at it yourself. I love how handmade all these items are for the past. Look at these guys. You'll not be able to see it, never mind. Look at these guys.
Fucking...
It's like every layer of the quote-unquote industry at that time is just they guys.
This was the time... If you look at the games industry in modern times, right? And the people, they're all, you know, we get muscles and that. The games industry, I'm talking about games developers, if you get big muscles and that. The guys I'm talking about, they get big muscles. They're handsome, they've got tans and all that. We're kind of cutting about the women games developers nowadays.
Just let me check, are you picturing like a tattooed Jeff Bezos in your head?
Yeah, things like that. Yeah, like muscly guys. Of course, the women in the games industry as well. These days, today, they're cracking, looking big tits and all that, and they're cutting about. They're looking great. They've got nice teeth. They've been using the teeth whitening strips for Spar. They look good. But back then, everybody looked like a fucking Operation UT.
Like a filing cabinet, didn't they?
They all look
like a cigarette-stained filing cabinet, that's what they look like.
They looked like Dennis Nelson. They looked like they would take a young man that they were attracted to home and kill him and hide him under the... Dispose of him poorly and get all the drains blocked up, and the stink of the bodies was unbelievable. And by the way, I've made Marek Minor.
Do you remember Sweevo's World?
Who's Sweevo?
That's him now.
Check him, he looks like exactly like Stan Laurel, man.
For the Gargoyle games, for the makers of Tear the Nog, for last episode that we were talking about. But this is a competition that you can win a Ferguson monitor.
A Ferguson monitor telly?
It's a word.
Monitor and telly?
It's a word quiz.
Wait a minute. Okay, anyway. Right, sorry, we're getting too caught up. This is the problem with nostalgia.
There's too much content.
There's too much content. This is why I'm going to say it right now. I'm not putting it out to the people this time. We're going to spend 2 episodes in 1985 because we're starting to remember stuff. I was 7 years old in 1985, was I? No, 8.
8, I was 7.
Ryan was 7 years old in 1985. I was 8 years old in 1985. I'm starting to remember things clearly. And one of the things I do remember clearly, Ryan, is one of our main topics.
I feel as if I can take a breather if we're going to spend 2 episodes. I'm not going to see that clock ticking forward.
One of the main content things of the episode, Ryan, is V. Now, if I say the word V to anybody these days of my generation, if I just walk up to a guy and say, I'm going to say one word to you, I say, I'm going to say one word to you.
We should try this. Test this.
If I walk up to a guy of my age, right, and I say one word, I say, I'm going to say one word to you, V, right? If I say that to him, he's going to think of... He's going to think of this thing. He's going to think about V.
That. So what have you... Too late. No, too late. Oh. So, what did you watch then? You never watched the miniseries, because the miniseries is like 1983.
No, I think the miniseries was 84. Miniseries was 84, right? We need to talk about V because it was a really important
cultural.
And this is listen, for people in the UK, I know V was an American telly show, but for kids in the UK, man, V was the thing. The playground was on fire when that first miniseries came out in 1984, and there's a significant moment in that series where there's a fight happens. Mike Donovan, who's the hero of V, right? You would never cast this guy as a hero in anything nowadays. He was the hero of V, right? But he gets into a fight with one of these aliens. The story of V is the visitors come from space, and they're these benevolent, advanced, human-like aliens who are here. They're going to cure cancer, they're going to cure all the ills of the day, they're going to solve famine and all of that, right? But Mike Donovan doesn't trust him. He's a journalist. He's a telephoto like videographer to a journalist, and he doesn't trust aliens anyway. He gets into a fight with an alien. This is in 1984, by the way, and he punches an alien, and what happens, right?
The skin comes off the alien's face, And he's a lizard alien face underneath the human face.
No, I just want to say one thing, right, before we go any further here. See if David Icke and all his crew watch this bit, and this was a TV show about people who were aliens who were from space. I don't want to use to start all your garbage.
They can't tell the difference between telly shows and what he talks about the Matrix as if it's a documentary. They can't tell the difference. He thinks the Queen's real.
Listen, the playground was on fire. I remember being in the school playground and everybody was talking about how that flap of skin came off the guy's face and he was a lizard. We fast forward, the miniseries was such a success, Ryan, right? Took the world by storm that they quickly rushed another miniseries into production, and it was called V, The Final Battle. This was also 1984, I believe, right? And V, The Final Battle comes out, and there's a significant moment in that as well. Again, they set the playground on fire again. They set the playground on fire twice. You know what I mean?
Is that the bodies?
No, the bodies, Ryan. I'm talking about the babies. So one of the visitors, right, one of the aliens gets this lassie up the duff, right?
This isn't 1985.
But we're moving into, I'm explaining the background.
Okay, right.
He ejaculates inside this lady.
Oh,
right?
come on.
And his alien sperm goes inside this lassie's egg, right? The sperm goes up her vagina and it
Wait a
fertilises.
minute. That's the wrong order, surely.
No. The penis goes into the penis, don't confuse me. The penis goes in, let me check my file of facts here. The penis goes into the vagina first. The penis ejaculates jism into the up inside the don't fucking, I've got the pressure on me now and I know the Guff are going to be watching this. The penis goes into the vagina, the penis goes up, ejaculates sperm up into the vaginal passage, into the egg, and an alien twins was made.
One lizard, one human. Twins.
Listen, see if David Icke's fucking crew start obsessing about this one human, one lizard thing. The one human, one lizard theory has been debunked, soundly debunked. One human, one lizard. The baby human had a forked tongue. The baby lizard, let me tell you something, he looked like a sack of shit. He looked like a fucking sack of shit. And we were terrified. The playground went on fire, Ryan.
Yeah.
Fast forward, 1985, take it over,
They've
Ryan.
decided to
The
cash
series.
in even further. They're going, we can get at least another 40 episodes out of this. 40, 30, 40.
Yeah. I think they ended up with 8 or something.
So
10.
that's what they do. So series 1 starts in 1985 and it gives you, it's set after the 3 episode miniseries. It gives you like a montage of the start of the first episode, but I'm watching it with somebody who has never seen V before, and she's like,
Did you watch it with your significant other?
yeah, and she's like, who are any of these people and what happened? Because nothing's explained, but it comes so, they just assume that it's because it comes so soon after the miniseries
And it was such
that
a
everybody
phenomenon.
knows, and it was so huge that everybody knows. So episode 1 starts with Diana has been captured. She's like one of the Hegians, one of the Heed baddies, sexy Diana.
Let me tell you something. What a woman.
She must have single-handedly punched a tiny hole in the ozone layer with the amount of hairspray that she's wearing.
What a woman. She's the kind of woman you look at and it makes you think of, you know, that stuff like the vagina, the penis. The penis going into the vagina and all that.
Right. That's enough. I like that, I think. Donovan's chasing Diana. That's what happens right at the start. I think she gets captured. And is it right at the start of the first episode? I think he's in a helicopter for what feels like 20 minutes. No, it's a car chase, I think.
It's the world's slowest car chase.
There's a car chase. He is in a helicopter, or maybe that's episode 2. I have watched a few episodes. There's a lot of traffic stuff happening in it, because that's good for filming.
I think it's a helicopter chasing a car, isn't it? Or is it?
He's following the ambulance that Diana is supposedly in, but Diana drives under a bridge, and Donovan, just looking, staring at a bridge, goes, the ambulance didn't come out the other side, but a truck went the other side, so the ambulance must be inside the truck.
He's a smart guy.
Aye.
He's a journalist. He's a smart guy.
Yeah. At no point during any of this does it look like he's flying a helicopter, obviously.
No.
Because he's...
He also has a brawl with Diana at the start of the episode, doesn't he? Like a full rolling about in the ground
When
brawl.
he's chasing Diana at the start of that first episode, whether you're going to watch the whole series with any interest in it, it's worth watching the very start of this first episode of Eve in 1985, because the way he runs and the way he fights Mike Donovan in this is no exaggeration, pure like Garth Marenghi. Like
100%.
Sanchez out of Garth Marenghi. Wide stance, spinning on the spot, constant facial movements.
When he lands for a jump, he does a pose before he moves. It's amazing.
Like, you know, when a fashion model is being, like, when they're getting, like, mid-shots or close-ups, they're constantly adjusting. He's doing that all the time in every scene.
But this is a guy, though, this is a show that knows, that's pure playground bait, him doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's pure, what I mean by playground bait, just to clarify, is that he knows all the wee guys are really excited about this, want to be Mike Donovan, want to play V. You know what I mean? And he's acting up to that, and I miss that. I miss that in telly shows. That thing of, you know, let's act like heroes on this thing. You know,
there's a moment where they miss out on catching Diana, Donovan, and Tyler.
Right. No, Michael Ironside. Can I just pick up a wee bit here on Ham Tyler? Ham Tyler is a kind of mercenary character that's in the V series. And he's played by Michael Ironside, who you'll know for things like Total Recall and Starship Troopers and stuff. Now, I've got an interesting anecdote about Ham Tyler. There was a wee guy at school with us, a guy called Gavin, and he accidentally one time when we were talking about V called him Spam Tyler. I called him, right? No, as a joke, he thought his name was Spam Tyler. So for then on, all of us at school all called Michael Ironside's character Spam Tyler, right? The reason why I tell you this is because many, many years later, I was in a meeting in London and we were talking about, it was like a TV meeting, and there was some quite serious people on the table, and after I left the meeting I realised that I'd been talking about Spam Tyler out of V, a Spam Tyler type character out of V. Anyway, I just thought that was worth mentioning. What a great character, leather jacket, jeans, mercenary character, and we all know how good Michael Ironside is. You know?
And he acts the whole way through this series like he doesn't really, he's not that bothered, really. He's letting Donovan do all the face acting and all the wide stance and stuff, and he's just like playing it straight.
Very cool.
So
the best performance in the show, I think.
I mean,
will we talk about Willie?
Let me finish this thing. The end of this scene, they miss out on catching Diana and Tyler, and he only said Spam. Tyler says to Donovan, next time. And Donovan turns to Tyler and he says, it's already next time.
I had her. Dead. Next time. It's already next time.
And that was the first of many moments in this series that don't make any sense. They're standing in the right place and they're saying words, but it's no well written and it's no well acted.
And it's a shame because the miniseries are like genuinely great telly, I think, but the series just gets all a wee bit soapy. You're essentially seeing this woman who is the kind of overlord of this alien species, and she's they're driving about in motors and chasing each other about, and a guy's trying to get off with her, like she's hitchhiking and all that.
She changed costume while she was on the run, Diana. She changed costume to seduce that fat trucker guy, that guy with the 4x4.
But
then once she did that and she got that, she changed back into her costume again, and her uniform.
They know what people are watching it for. They know what people are watching it for, right? You know what I mean? That's the thing. They know why people are watching it. But V, look, V was all spectacle. The thing that struck me about V was this, right? The Goody was a journalist. V is a show that has as its main heroes, right? There's a character called Juliet as well, who's a doctor. She's a scientist. And the heroes are like journalists and scientists. And I feel like you just wouldn't have a show these days. The way everything, how bonkers everything is now, you wouldn't have a show where the heroes are journalists and scientists these days.
You say that they're journalists and scientists, but I think it was the second or third episode, sorry to reference other episodes, but the second or third episode where the visitors turn up to try and capture Elizabeth again. Oh, actually, it must be the third episode because she's already transformed into because she was recast.
Did you watch right up to the third episode?
Yeah. I might watch them all because they're camp fun. But the visitors turn up to kidnap Elizabeth, and these scientists, without missing a beat, like honestly, as soon as they spot them, like M16s start coming out. So you say they're scientists and journalists, but they're also somehow like mercenaries and.
Aye.
But it's America, I suppose, though. So
I still think it's, quite a progressive thing. By the way, the reason why they managed to beat the Visitors in the original miniseries is they dropped this mad red dust, which made it impossible for the Visitors to live. So they had to get past that in this series as well. There's a special pill that they take.
No, but also the red dust is dissipating. I've found it also.
Is it?
And it's
is
also...
Is that why Diana wasn't affected when there was
Also, it does affect us in the long term, and it does affect human life and other life.
You're joking, so it's bad?
Yeah, so it is long term bad for things.
So
we can't really use it anymore.
So it was a short term fix, but in the long term...
They don't know that. They don't know that.
It's like a vaccine.
Robert.
It's like a vaccine.
Thanks to Guft Industries.
It's like the vaccine. I just want to say as well that Willie is in this. If any Willie fans are out there, this is the show for you, because Willie's in this, and Willie is played by one...
Freddy Krueger.
Thanks, Ryan. He's played by one Mr. Robert Englund, who, this might surprise you to hear,
Freddy Krueger
played in that same year, I think, maybe 1984, a show called Nightmare on Elm Street, called a movie, came out. Freddy Krueger. Listen, he's a goodie in this. He's like that. He does that. In the first episode I watched, he does this. That's fucking what he does, Freddy Krueger. That's all he does.
Elizabeth's granda sacrifices himself in a later episode. He flies a mothership into a big weapon that the aliens have got. It's fucking terrible. Like, how he knows how to fly this mothership, I don't know, but that's what he does anyway. And Willie, on the way out, he goes...
When Willie's on the way out?
Willie's
out.
Aye, Willie's out. He's nearly out. And he goes, "You're a good friend. You're a true zero." And
A true zero?
A true zero. And the guy goes, "Hero, Willie."
Oh, yeah.
And then the guy flies to his death.
Oh.
It's a good wee moment.
Well,
the lighting in that cave at the end of episode 1 I know we found it camp at the well, we also found it a wee bit scary in camp at the time, but how we found it scary in any way, I don't know, because it looks like if you were to go to an amusement park that hadn't been updated for 40 years, that's the kind of, that would be the entrance to the ghost train. That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
like
it was essentially just a green light shining, wasn't it?
A really badly lit
green
Star Trek looking set.
Red. Green, red. But then, having said that, that's essentially what Dario Argento did in Suspiria, and everybody says that's good as well. I just want to point people, by the way, if you're going to watch our first episode of V, please go to 43 minutes 15 seconds in. Maybe we'll actually play it here, because there's a bit where Mike Donovan...
43 minutes?
15 minutes. 43 minutes 15 seconds.
I've got 43 minutes 20 seconds. Are you talking about Donovan jumping off the...
Donovan jumps off the... Come on, brother! Come on, brother, let's put it there. And this is why, this is two guys that have been watching and enjoying the culture for years. This is two veterans here, and we notice these things. Ryan, tell him, Hawk.
Well, I was going to talk about the length of time that it takes Donovan to get up after he jumps down, but it looks like a switch.
It's a switch.
And
it isn't Mike Donovan that jumps off that roof.
Smooth switch.
A boy jumps off that roof, lands. Then a few seconds pass, and then it looks like
maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, they're confused, and then Mike Donovan stands up. It's fucking fantastic. You need to watch it. Anyway, let's move on. We've been talking too much about V. Let's move on.
I would definitely recommend it. It's pure trash.
It's great. Watch a lot, by the way. Watch the miniseries, watch the final battle, and then watch the series and watch the decline. That is definitely a decline.
It is all available on archive.org for some reason, in good quality.
But there is also a V computer game that I got very excitedly from the Clyde Shopping Centre in 1985. Let's take a look. When you were a wee kid in the 1980s, one of the most exciting things that could happen was a computer game coming out based on one of the things you loved from the world of TV or film. It was an exciting time in your life, and I remember saving up my pocket money and going and buying V, the computer game, for the Commodore 64, And this is the very first sheet of the game you're looking at here. In this very first sheet, you're stuck behind some security doors. This is what you're rewarded with for saving up all your Bob-a-Job money, right? You're stuck behind these security doors. Think about it, all these people all over the country who watched and enjoyed V getting stuck behind a security door, trying to crack a code, no clue what they're doing. Nobody has a clue what they're supposed to do. There's no real instructions to let you know how to do it. You've got to just crack the code going through these buttons here. Now, eventually I persevered, and I did it when I was a kid and proceeded further into the game. Not really a huge reward. Perseverance though, that's all you could do when you're a kid, was persevere. That's what being a kid is, perseverance. Look at this. Eventually I got there. This is the game. Can you believe this? This is the game. It doesn't even have the music for the telly show. Fuck, man. As we were journeying into 1985, I decided I was going to have a look at Hill Street Blues, which is a show that my dad watched. It was a show your dad watched, Hill Street Blues, right? And I went and looked for the...
10 at night?
Something like that.
10
at night on a Thursday night or something. And I turned on Hill Street Blues. I just said I want to watch the opening titles of Hill Street Blues. And I was watching it and I nearly started greeting now.
Is it shite?
No, it was the memory of Hill Street Blues.
Theme tunes.
Yeah, the music
Beautiful.
playing, the cold open into the music playing, them coming out, the police cars coming out and going, and just visualising.
Dispatch, we have a 911. Armed robbery in progress. See surplus store, corner People's Drive, 124th Street.
I was like, I kind of felt like I was upstairs in my old house, my ma's house, or I was in the kitchen or whatever. My man and my dad were alive in the living room. My dad was watching Hill Street Blues. It took me right back there. And let me tell you something, Ryan. I cried on that
Were they no
day.
alive in other rooms? Were they just alive in the living room?
Well, in that moment of the memory, they were only alive in the living room.
Okay. It's a weird way to phrase it.
But they were watching Hill Street Blues, and I never ever went in and watched Hill Street Blues with my dad because, I don't know, I just wasn't into procedural police dramas when I was 8. But I wish I'd went in and watched it.
You can't live like that though. You can't live with the regrets. I get the same thing for Cheers. That theme tune that gives me the same. It's late at night. You're in your bedroom. The adults are watching something.
Aye. I wonder if the difference is that I did watch Cheers with my man and dad, you know what I mean? So it doesn't. I wonder if it doesn't have that other room quality about it. I think there's something about an other room quality that memories have. That gives it an even more kind of bittersweet sensation, because you're not completely in the moment. You're kind of outside the moment.
June 15th, 1985.
Penis
Studio
goes into the
Ghibli.
vagina.
Robert, stop saying that.
Ejaculates.
You've said it now. Let's leave it and stop saying it.
Right, okay.
.uk is registered.
What, on the
24th of July.
internet?
Aye.
There was an internet back then.
.uk.
What the hell is going on, man? Do you want to hear what the top 10 best-selling albums of 1985 were?
Go
Ryan?
on then, I'd love that.
Right, here we go. The top 10 best-selling albums of 1985, and I'm going to do it in the style of a DJ for that time. So you remember what the
Don't
DJs...
talk about your Willie and stuff.
No, I won't. You remember what the DJs at that time were like? They were bounced, all that energy.
Sex offenders.
So let's do it. Hey guys, welcome to the best-selling albums of... Can you pour me a drink of water? Hey guys, let's welcome to the best-selling albums of 1985. Really, my name's Jazzy Robert, big hairy cornflakes. Number 10. Oh, let's get do the top 10. The number 10, the Paul Young. I made it sound like a band. Paul Young. Number 10 of Paul Young.
This is albums, not singles.
10 best-selling albums. Number 10 is Paul Young with The Secret of Association. Give them scores out of 10 as I go.
Paul, I don't know that one.
Okay, number 9, it's Hits 2.
A compilation album?
Hits 2 compilation album. Number 8, it's Now That's What I Call Music.
I probably have heard it, but I don't know it.
5. Number 7. It's now now Christmas.
It's all compilation albums.
Now Christmas.
I don't know.
It's called Now. It's not Now That's What I Call Christmas or Now That's What I Call Music Christmas. It's just Now Christmas. Number 6. It's Now That's What I Call Music.
Fuck's sake.
6. Number 5. Tears for Fears.
Good.
Songs
7.
from the Big Chair.
7 out of 10.
Number 5. It's the one and only. They call him the boss. It's Mr. Bruce Springsteen with the album called Born in the USA.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Just like much of the Pennsylvania audience. In tribute to the Pennsylvania audience, Madonna with Like a Virgin. They're virgins. Number 2.
I don't think I've heard that album.
Number 2, friend of the show, Phil Collins.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
With No Jacket Required. Hey, tell you what, you can't say that about Glasgow today, man. I was fucking pissing rain.
What's the number 1?
Number 1. We want to have a guess who's your number 1?
Peter Cetera.
I'll give you a clue. Come on, baby. Hold on. I'm gonna be on the baby.
Do it again?
Yeah.
Dolly Parton.
It's Dire Straits with Brothers in
Here,
Arms.
I've got a
Baby,
fact
do the
right.
walk.
Dire Straits' Brother in Arms became the first compact disc to send
Brothers.
Dire Straits. The Dire Straits album, Brothers in Arms, became the first compact disc to sell 1 million copies. Did you know that? Did you know
Man
that?
at Arms. Do you remember Man at Arms for He-Man? Why did Dire Straits not release an album called Man's at Arms? Man. Tell you what, I was reading in 1985, and this is a game. Let me tell you something. I was a big fan of the Fighting Fantasy game books. Ryan, I know you were a big fan of the Fighting Fantasy game books.
I've got one signed by Jackson. And,
No, here we go. This is mortifying because it's Ian Livingston.
No, I've got one signed by Jackson and the one for guiding the show
Right.
that we made. Sorry for mentioning it.
You
Sorry,
got one
Garth.
signed by Jackson as well?
Yeah. Separate ones. But I've got City of Thieves signed by Ian Livingston. But you weren't on the ball. We met Ian Livingston, but Robert didn't bring it in to get signed.
I didn't want to meet my hero, Ian Livingston, and reduce myself to a fanboy
Look at this.
in his presence. What the hell is that?
Quiz Quest. Only $4.99. You alright?
I just didn't want. Ian Livingston, who is going to be a significant figure actually as we move forward in this, because Ian Livingston is a huge cultural figure for guys your generation coming through time. Let's have a look at Jeff Cape's strongman over there. Look at that. Let's get a muscle. Oh, we get one of our muscles out.
I don't have any. I didn't bring any.
Fucking look at that.
Woof. I wasn't expecting that python.
Look at that. Get close up, guys. Fucking look at that.
Robert, you'll break the night.
Come on. Fucking hell, man. I think I'm going to have a stroke.
What do you want to do next?
I want to talk about this Fighting Fantasy game book because, so 98, Daley Thompson, there he is. Can you please let me talk about this Fighting Fantasy game book? Or we're never going to get through 1985 even in 2 episodes. I was a big fan of them. I got every one when it came out, but in 1985 one of my favourite ones came out. Ryan, Freeway Fighter. Did you ever play Freeway Fighter? Now, Fighting Fantasy game books were like choose your own adventure books, but you could also roll dice and play it like a rudimentary kind of RPG, right? Like a foundation level RPG. It was me rolling dice. It was like milking a big fucking some kind of big yak, but I'm rolling dice. Freeway Fighter came out in 1985, and that was one where you had to track your fuel. You needed fuel, or your car. It was like Mad Max style one, and I think it's one of the best Fighting Fantasy games. We'll be talking more about Fighting Fantasy games down the line, but I just want to shout out Freeway Fighter. Let's see if there's stuff. Freeway Fighter.
Think influenced by Mad Max, you would think. Like the timing of it would say it's probably influenced by Mad Max.
Absolutely, 100%. Cool. Hey, did you know that Rare was founded in 1985 as well?
I did know that, yeah. I
Yeah,
actually
did
know
you?
that. Did you
Well,
know
maybe
that
you should have said it then.
Did you know that the SECC was built in 1985?
The Scottish Exhibition and Conference Centre was built in 1985.
Opened in 1985.
Because there's rumours, isn't there, that one of the gangsters, one of the mob for Black Hill, put some bodies under the SECC.
They always say that. So we've got a film and more games to talk about.
We do. Let me talk about one of my favourite games of that year. A lot of games that I love came out in 1985. Big year for me as a Commodore 64 guy. There was a game that came out, Ryan, and it was cinematic. It was funny. It was thrilling. It was set in the Old West, and it was called The Law of the West.
You the sheriff for this stinking town? Yeah, no, and what's it to you, punk? You lard-belly lawmen are all cowards. And you young punks are all alike, all talk. I'm gonna kill you, you old fart. Make my day. Watch us. Rattle.
Still absolutely magic, this. I mean, it's still absolutely... We are here. Wait to see, I know who's coming now. One of my favourites. Oh. I mean, come on now. Woo-hoo.
Well, hello there, big boy. Mind if I come and visit you sometime? Well, I just don't know if I'm interested.
I won't be having that. Sorry, we just will not be having that. Please don't show this to anybody. Please don't put this out on air. Don't let Guff see this. Or have you have any memory of this game?
Yeah, I know it.
You're a sheriff in this game, and all you're doing is standing in a street, and the view is almost, it's like your back, it's like your hip, it's like your, how can I do? Can you stand up for me, Ryan? Stand up for me, right? Try and just come out for the mic. Right, stand up for me a wee second. Right, now just... If we go to a shot on me, just a close up on me, right? That's perfect. Right now, can you put your hand in there? That's Law of the West. Right, so you've got your gun there, and then people walk out. Right, we characters walk. No, that there. That's it. So it's for your back, and then a character would walk out into the street, and they'd say something to you. Here, sheriff, what's going on with you? I like your file of facts. I like your file of facts, right? And then you have to decide what to say. Dialogue options will come up, you decide what to say. But at any point in this game, Ryan, you can pull out that gun and you can put a fucking bullet.
I mean, none of that, all of that just happens in your head, in your imagination.
Guff, they're right, man. Look at these fucking...
We just keep taking the supplements I've gave you.
I want some of that Ozempic. I want some of that fucking Ozempic. See all these celebrities out there, they're taking that Ozempic and they're just fucking losing weight like that. I want it!
What is it?
It's a drug! I want the drug! I want fucking drugs! I've never took a drug in my life. I want drugs.
February 7th, New York becomes the first national anthem of New York City.
The national anthem of New York. Thanks, Ryan. Could you just say that right into the camera there?
New York's the national anthem of New York City, which isn't a country.
Spreading the news. You know what? I would make that a special anthem of New York City. New York State of Mind by one Mr. Billy Joel. Can I say something to you, Ryan?
Please do.
You remind me of Billy Joel.
That's a tremendous compliment. Thanks very much.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Is there something you want to talk about?
I mean, we've got games.
Tell me what you've been playing. What have you been playing?
Games.
What have you been playing? Keep it moving.
I've got many games. Because you're talking about Law of the West there on C64. That's one of your memories there. But what I'm realising the more I'm looking at games is, in my mind, the 80s for us was like there was a Spectrum or was a C64, and that absolutely is not the case. There's actually quite a few different platforms, so I'm playing games not just on the Spectrum. I mean, I'm trying to focus on the Spectrum, but I'm also playing them on other things. So Critical Mass, I played on the Spectrum. Do you want to see a wee bit of Critical Mass?
Critical Mass, it's been a long time since I went to Mass. Catholic.
Sound in this game is awesome. As a Spectrum gamer, you just got used to getting on with very little, so getting a game that has as much sound production in it as Critical Mass is a real treat. Felt a wee bit of tension when I turned on Critical Mass for the first time. It's been many years since I've looked at it, and I have this memory that meant I had an expectation, because the memory is of a classy game. That's how I would describe Critical Mass. I always thought of it as quite a classy game. The animations were way above most other games that I played in the Spectrum. There was a lot of attention to detail with collision detection, and the sound was great. It was convincing. You were playing it and it was quite convincing, which no many Spectrum games were. And I'm sitting playing Critical Mass now and I've got a big cheeser on my face because it holds up. And it makes me realise and think about how I actually wasn't that clued up on what the plot of this game is. Some aliens have taken there some power plant or something and they're going to blow it up, and that's what the title Critical Mass is coming to, because there's a time limit. You're always working against a time limit and trying to get to the next objective. It's fun to shoot things in Critical Mass, but you waste energy. You really actually just want to avoid as many things. That's how you play it properly. You want to avoid as many things as possible. But also, now I remember, you just wanted to play with it. It didn't matter what the plot was. It didn't matter what the beginning and the end was. You just wanted to play with the thing you had. You just wanted to play with the game. Sometimes it didn't matter if the games were broken. This isn't broken, but you know what I'm saying? You wanted to tinker with it and play with it and examine it and spend time with it, which is what we did. Critical Mass is fucking magic.
There you go, Critical Mass.
I remember that tape. It was a blue tape, and there's a bit at the start of the game. It'll tell you, if you've not got a blue tape, let us know and we'll give you £100.
What?
Like, if you can let them know, basically grassing somebody, and if you let us know where you got this copy of this tape that isn't authentic, we'll give you £100. Says at the start of the game.
Oh, right, so it's a grass.
But I did have the original game, which is why I remember it so vividly, because there were so few originals that I could afford to own.
I just want to just clarify, because obviously Guffed Industries track this show. We are not grasses, am I know, right?
Fuck no.
We are not grasses. I just think it's important to state that for anything that Guffed. Know that there's nothing that we would grass about. There's nothing to grass, but if there was things to grass that and there aren't.
You can count on us. We're no fucking.
There's
grasses.
nothing. We are not saying anything about any with the galleries or anything. It's all good. We're not going to talk about Monty on the Run.
We're not going to talk about.
We're not going to talk about Monty on the Run because we've talked about it too much before. Anytime anybody does, let's talk about old Commodore 64 games. Oh, Monty on the Run. Oh, I fucking love Monty on the Run. I tell you, Matt, I was thinking about what do I love most about Monty on the Run? The music. Everybody always talks about the music. We know the music's great. Rob Hubbard on his prime game, right? But I think what I love best about Monty on the Run is when the stamper comes down, right? See, when you're going along, the stamper comes down and Monty goes, he explodes like that. It's just, what a game. We're not talking about it. We're not going to talk about it. But I was obsessed with that game. I was obsessed with Monty on the Run. And it's one of the few games, well, not one of the few games, there's a lot of games for back then that still are still fun to play. But Monty on the Run really does hold up. It really holds up.
It's
on a level
though.
that something like Jet Set Willy, for example, right, which we kind of briefly mentioned.
1985 Jet Set Willy 2 comes out, which is suspiciously quickly after Jet Set Willy 1 came out.
But I just think, these things don't really stand up anymore. But Monty on the Run, my God.
There's a cracker. That's a cracker. Fairlight.
We're not
Do you know
talking about
Fairlight?
Hey, have you played
That
before?
manages to. I have. I played it. I was playing it just yesterday.
Oh.
Not only is it beautiful, but it actually manages to be atmospheric.
It's gorgeous looking.
Which is amazing because there's no audio. But it's very atmospheric.
I had a shot at it on the Spectrum. You were playing it on the Spectrum, yeah. It's a beautiful looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very, very intricately crafted.
One thing I will say about the Spectrum, right, and obviously, I'm historically known for, if you look me up on Wikipedia, you'll see that I'm one of the prominent Spectrum haters on the planet. But I've started to change my mind when I'm doing this show, because there's something I feel like I haven't realised about the Spectrum before, and I'm speaking directly right down the lens. Listen, and I want your voice. Let's go to a two on this, because let's go. I want to speak directly to you, Spectrum players out there, you people who played the Spectrum, guys like him who played the Spectrum, right? I want to talk to you directly, because I dismissed you people for a long time and dismissed the Spectrum for a long time, but the Spectrum does have something. It has a kind of atmosphere of its own, a kind of character and atmosphere that, and this is painful for me to say, I don't think the Commodore 64 has. The Commodore 64 looks better, I think, had the better games, looks better, sounds better music and all that. It's a higher quality experience. But I think that the Spectrum, and I know you are waiting for a joke here, or that I'm about to say something negative about the Spectrum, but I'm genuinely saying here with love and compassion out to you, because my God, we need that in today's society, I'm saying out to you just now that the spectrum does have its own character and its own personality, and almost like a kind of ghostly.
We know that. We know that.
What are you talking about?
We've
I'm
been
trying
saying
to
it
be
for
nice.
years. I know, but we already know this.
But I'm
Is it an apology for all the years of nastiness?
It's not an apology. This is somebody
Right, well,
who
forget
used.
it then.
This
we
is somebody
already know this. We already know
who
this.
used the superior platform, who is admitting.
See? Still at it.
Somebody
Still at
who
it.
used the superior platform, who's admitting that there is something there. There's a sense of character
There's
there.
also something in the even more basic graphics. There's something in that reduction to how simple can the game be. Because a few times I've looked at different versions. I've been looking for games this year. I've seen C64 versions, and I went, oh, now that is objectively better. The sound is better. The graphics are kind of finer. There's more detail. But for some reason, I want to see what the Spectrum version looks like. I want to see what that basic version looks like. Because that's, for me, that's how graphics worked for me. There was very, very basic Spectrums, and then there was the Amiga. And there wasn't really much in between. And for me, C64 feels like that in between that I didn't have.
Did you say C64 the first time?
Probably.
You said it.
Probably.
That's all I'm taking away for this. Did he say C64?
Bobby Socks
all.
won the 30th Eurovision Song Contest for Norway.
Hey, Bobby Socks.
Singing Let Det Swing.
I'm
in
into
Gothenburg.
socks.
You're into socks?
What? Yeah, no, like wearing them on my feet, but I like.
I mean, like, what do you mean?
I've got a sexual fetish.
About socks?
I like socks. All I'm saying is, I like when the socks are on.
Right. I don't know what guff they're going to think about that.
Right, let's talk about our main culture point. We've spoken about a lot of games. Let's talk about a movie.
Yeah, it's movie time. Let's go to
let's
Hollywood
talk about
again.
a movie. You know,
We did consider British films, but we want to go to Hollywood and talk about the big movie. Part of the reason why we're saying we're going to have to do another episode on 1985 is the amount of films, the amount of big, what feel like cultural events in the cinema were happening in 1985. This, at the time, I don't think this film that we're going to talk about was one of the larger impact films. It wasn't a Back to the Future or anything like that.
Nowhere near it. And weirdly, I think as well, it's been almost completely forgotten because you can't watch it on any streaming service. You can't. It's difficult to buy even on DVD or Blu-ray. It is a movie by Rob Reiner from 1985,
and it's the very next film that Rob Reiner is making after Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap was 1984, and then now he's doing The Sure Thing.
And he made it before he made Stand By Me, which is another classic.
What a run by his career. Aye, very, very impressive.
It's called The Sure Thing. It stars John Cusack and Daphne Zuniga. And Ryan, we both watched it in the past couple of days. We haven't spoken about it because this is a movie we liked when we were younger. And then it's time to go and watch it again and decide if it still stands up. Because I just want to say, there's a John Hughes film called 16 Candles that was out kind of round about the same time, a wee bit earlier. And that film is, when you watch it nowadays, no harm to John Hughes because I love John Hughes. It's kind of despicable. 16 Candles. When was the last time you saw 16 Candles? It's a rough watch, man. It's kind of horrible and mean-spirited, and it's horrible, right? So you're always frightened when you're going back to watch, particularly because this is a teen. Teen, it's kind of like a college romance.
It's for that
comedy.
It's
for that audience.
It's for that audience, that Brat Pack type of audience. Was the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, it was ruined about, and that was. I think
Pinks,
this movie gets swamped by things like the Breakfast Club. Definitely. I think that's why. Anyway, Ryan, we watched it again. John Cusack, in his youth. What did you think?
Overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really, for a long time in the film, I was so relieved because when you go back and you watch, because I've not seen it in 20 odd years,
Yeah.
when you go back and watch old films, you're like, is it going to stand up? Because the pace of change is always evident when you go back in cinema. It's inevitable, but it actually it has good pace into it. It's lively. The performances are really kind of fresh and alive. There are things like takes that are a wee bit kind of fluffy sometimes, like when he's wigging it in the car. When she's nearly getting kidnapped, it wasn't as convincing. John Cusack, I'm talking about, wasn't he as convincing as I remember him being? But they're really young in it. But it's very, very, very entertaining, the film,
This
and quite straightforward, really.
totally
I found.
straightforward, right down the line. I watched it last night. It's about John Cusack plays a character who he's this young guy who's basically wanting to get laid, like
Virgin.
Like he's wanting to get laid. I don't think he's a virgin. I think he's makes jokes about him being a virgin, but I think he's no experienced, that's for sure. He's trying his chatterblines. He's a young guy trying to get laid, right? He's a young guy putting on the act. Getting laid, just to clarify for our audience, is having penetrative sexual intercourse with a woman.
Which is when the penis goes inside the vagina.
You ejaculate semen inside the woman's vagina. Well, that's when you make a baby, because sometimes as well you can wear a sheath on your penis. So when you ejaculate the sperm, it just fills up the sheath like a balloon.
Who was John Cusack's pal in the Sure Thing? Was it
Goose.
Green? Oh, it was Goose.
Goose
That's
and
who it
Green.
was. I loved that bit where Goose was phoning John Cusack, and then he was making a big deal about the fact that he was phoning cordless.
Oh man, it's the past. And John Cusack's this guy, and he's at college, and basically he's having to pass his exams, so he kind of gets this lassie, Daphne Zuniga, who's like, she's really brainy, and he's kind of loosey-goosey, but he's no daft. He's smart as well, but he's just kind of... He's creative, and he's just kind of a bit of a dafty, right? He's having fun, impulsive. And he gets her to kind of be his tutor, and, they come together, and then they kind of come apart, and then end up doing this road trip. Because John Cusack's character is told by his mate, Green Goose, Anthony Edwards, Top Gun, he's told by his mate, there's a sure thing out here in California for you. Come out here, there's a lassie you can have sex with. She's a sure thing. This is played by Nicolette Sheridan, and her pomp when she was young. The type, hard-bodied, tanned, long blonde hair, that kind of type from the 80s.
Zero personality.
Zero personality.
Zero.
And he's making this trip across the country, and Daphne Zuniga is making the trip across the country to go and visit her boyfriend, who's a total square. And it's just a road trip movie, basically, with them two button heads, falling apart button heads. The warmth and the heart in this movie, Ryan.
Before you get, let's finish positive and strong positive, but before you do that, I will say that I think it wouldn't be completely honest to not acknowledge that there is a definite imbalance when it comes to like the male and female. Like John Cusack's character is so fuller, gets so much more screen time.
Yeah.
But that's just...
I've got a theory about that, though.
Go on.
My theory about that is, I had to Google John Cusack's age after watching this film, right? Because, what you're saying is right, he does have some kind of woolly, loosey-goosey moments that don't quite land, right? But he was 18 when he shot that film. Mm-hmm. And John Cusack's performance in this film, I think, is absolutely
It is great, but what I was
astonishing.
Saying was it's about the two of them, and they are the two main characters. But he is definitely... He's the star of the film.
And I think Rob Reiner's behind the camera, and he's gone, no, this young boy is fucking unbelievable, you know what I mean? Because they just let him off the leash, they let him do stuff and all of that, and he is such a... Because he's not like a conventionally attractive guy, I wouldn't say either, but the personality, man, that he's got, and he's just... Anyway, he's completely charming and amazing in this film. It does have, like I was saying about 16 Candles, 16 Candles, when you look back at it now, it has a horrible kind of rapey vibe about it, which is just unpleasant to watch. And there is a kind of...
They use a potential rape just as a kind of wee kind of story twist. And like, they just kind of use it as something disposable that happens. And like, that seems like quite a traumatic event that she just went through. But that's what I mean about her character being slightly less important.
But but it's like, you have to look for wee moments are kind of... So like after that incident happens in the Sure Thing where she almost gets assaulted by this guy, right? And John Cusack kind of saves the day. There's this weird moment where you just wouldn't get in these other films, I don't think, where after they've had the kind of comedy thing and then they've ended the scene and it's all that, there's a moment where it kind of breaks away from everything and John Cusack goes, are you all right?
You're all right.
No, but are you all right?
Right.
And which you just wouldn't see in these, like, as a moment of, like, it's almost like, right, here's all the film stuff that you're all into and that we all like, and then here's the actual real kind of heart of the thing where the boy kind of goes, drops all the act. And Cusack does this, suddenly all that character of all the hangmate is away, and he's just like, are you all right? Are you all right? Which you just, you know, you just...
But it's like what he's up, because she's got a boyfriend in the film, or a fiance in the film, and he is like, obviously the guy is wildly successful and much better off than John Cusack, and so John Cusack has to demonstrate in some way what his worth is. So it's like that's the moment where he just go like, oh, he's a good human being. He's
just kind of a good guy and a good kid, and it's like it's weird as well, and that because you've got this guy on the other side of the country going, there's this lassie who you'll just be able to sleep with, and then the rest of the film is just like, there's that sure thing, but it's about human connection. It's about, which is something that still kind of works today. I think it maybe even works more today because we have so little human connection. Nobody takes like a road trip with a stranger across the country, you know what I mean, or anything like that. You don't, that's not a thing. But that sense of human connection and learning about somebody and getting to know somebody and spending time with somebody and stuff, it's just, I think, that really landed with me, even at this age and this time. And I also want to say that at 13 minutes into the film, Daphne Zuniga has a Filofax.
She does.
There's a Filofax in the movie because she's organised.
Did you spot the Spinal Tap poster and John Cusack?
I did spot the Spinal Tap poster, and also I want to shout out a moment in it where they're talking about the qualities of her boyfriend. He's smart, he's a lawyer, he's going to be doing this, he's going to be making this much money, he's going to be doing that. And John Cusack asks a question, and I genuinely think this is a fundamental question in relationships. And it's something I remember landing with me all the years ago, and it still works today. He asks, is he funny? Is he funny? Does he make you laugh? And I think it's just that about it. It's weird. It's this film where it's all kids that are in it, and yet there is a level of maturity.
Apart from that English teacher that they go to, and who's excellent, and I can't remember who plays her.
She's a great character. She's a great character who reads their essays like they're writing essays, and she reads their essays, and but it also has a nice pace. It's also just really cozy in it. It's like there's something cozy about the whole film.
And Tim Robbins is brilliant. Tim Robbins and his wife in that car, they're brilliant. They're a real treat. They're only in it for about five or so minutes, but
I really recommend
funny.
it. It was executive produced by the Fonz. It still stands up today.
That coincidence of her going to the party that he's meeting the sure thing in is unbelievable. That's me done. But the coincidence.
Yeah, but you just don't question
they've just driven
things.
Like 1,200 miles and ended up in the same house by pure coincidence.
Aye, but it genuinely feels like. But to me, it genuinely feels like they've went. Let's do the formula for these kind of teen sex comedies, and let's put good people in it that are actually, care about. Because ultimately he doesn't care about just having sex with this lassie. He doesn't, He wants her, the person that he formed a connection with. But they two are just so great in it. Like, she's great in it. And Cusack is just... He's wonderful in it.
There's just something about how straightforward the story is that it helps the charm of it. It just keeps it nice and simple. It's just a very, very charming film. There's moments of charm in other 80s films of that ilk, Pretty in Pink and things like that, but overall this film just remains quite charming, I think, because of its simplicity.
It just blows me away that the boy was 18, man, innit? It's like, I mean, he was like 4 years younger than her, I think, the actress, Daphne Zuniga, he was like 18, and the performance has that kind of screwball, kind of zany energy at times of the kind of comedy, but it's never that, when Jim Carrey does that kind of stuff, that kind of acting out and kind of screwball energy, it always feels a wee bit like, all right, fucking calm down, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, hold on. It's like it's almost like it feels hostile or something. He never loses that kind of era. Like, you'd be proud he was your son. Do you know what I mean?
I bet you wouldn't have had that take 20 odd years ago.
I wouldn't have had that take 20 years ago, but if John Cusack and The Sure Thing was my boy, I would be I would be very, very pleased, let me tell you.
So you like it then? You like that film?
I'm a big fan of that film. I was so happy that it was still good, and I actually took a photo of myself watching it. So let's put that photo up just now. This was my face while I was watching the show thing. So there you go.
9th of November, the Prince and Princess of Wales, Charles and Diana, arrive in the United States for a visit to Ronald Reagan.
What did they do that for?
Don't know. Doesn't it say?
So listen, so that's the first part of 1980. We're not finished with 1985 yet. We're going to have
Too much.
We're going to have to come back to 1985, but I just want to genuinely put some thanks out there to the people who watched episode 1 of CVXX. This is going to be a long journey, a long project. I want to thank Guft Industries. Ryan, is there anybody you want to thank?
Just Guft. Thanks very much to Guft Cosmetics, Guft Industries, Guft Design. Just thanks to Guft.
And listen, a lot of people have been getting in touch asking about merch. Let me tell you, Guft are on top of that. CVXX. If you can see, there's a point. There's a very, very distinctive point down here. If you think it is a knife, like a masculine, like a knife, or like a sharp penis V, CVXX. Guft are on top of that. They're going to sort out some merchandise. We're going to sort up a PO box. This is an ongoing project. And seriously, to you guys, a big, big thank you for all your support. Spread the word about CVXX, because let me tell you something. We are not fucking going anywhere. Ryan, tell them.
We're not going in. Well, we have to go because we're running out of time. But
in this episode, we have to go. I also want to say, please send us photos of your filofaxes. When you get your filofax yourself, send us a wee photo. And jump on our Discord. You'll find our Discord. Sign up for the Patreon, patreon.com/Consulvania. Sign up for the Patreon and you'll got access to everything we've ever done with Consulvania. It's just like
it's all there for nout. There for nout.
A million episodes. You'll be completely sick of us.
You'll never watch us again. Do you want to do the deaths?
The
obituaries.
Okay, and I'm going to, this time as we do the deaths of 1985, I am going to be singing in tribute to Barry McGuigan and his father, who died as well eventually in 1987. Danny boy.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, Danny boy.
Frank Oppenheimer.
The pipes. The bomb guy?
His brother.
The pipes are calling.
Sir Michael Redgrave.
Across the glen.
Chester Gould.
And through
Jimmy Cannon.
the open sky.
Kenny Baker.
I see
Lester
you
Cole.
here. You're
Saunders
lying
Lewis.
in the shadows.
Jock Steen.
For all they do.
Masako Natsume.
To be the one.
Julian
who
Beck.
And falling off
Laura
the
Ashley.
skies are on the meadow.
Charles Francis Richter.
And we to know
E.B. White.
the world all try to be.
Rock Hudson. George Savalas. Yul Brynner. Orson Welles. Ricky Wilson.
Hear the psalm or to the meadow.
Laszlo Biro. Phil
Biro
Silvers.
Pence?
Aye.
Oh, Danny
Phil
boy.
Silvers.
Bilko?
Aye.
Oh, Danny boy.
Wellington
my
Koo. Big Joe Turner. Philip Larkin.
Ian
Ian Stewart. Eric Shadler. Sam
The
Spiegel.
penis goes into the vagina.
Robert, That's us.
Ejaculates the sperm into the egg. And then the egg grows legs and a head. And turns into a boy called Ryan McLeod. And now he's here, he's not a sperm
I didn't realise it was about me.
anymore.
I didn't like it at first. I
He's
didn't
not
realise it
a
was about me.
sperm, he is a sperm with egg. Into the night we call him to our chamber. And then we do the sperm and egg again. Good night.
Good night.